Hi everybody, John McClean here, and I made it from Lakeville, Ontario to Labrador City. Actually, you can see I'm not quite in a hotel. I'm in a friend's garage. Woody and Laverne Cutler put me up for the last couple of days, gave me a tour of the area. It's June 1st, sorry, June 3rd here now, and the bike's still a mess. Sorry folks, but it's probably going to keep getting dirty, so why bother right now? And it kind of shows you the shape that the road is in. So maybe zoom in at the bike. My gear's over there, all still drying. The section from Manic 5 to Labrador City, when I crossed it on June 1st, was probably the toughest riding I've ever done in my life. Not just the road, but the elements themselves. My motocross boots got soaked right through. My jacket and pants, same thing. The weather conditions were amazing. I had beautiful sunny skies. And 5 minutes later, when I ran out of bed, that beautiful sunny sky was a massive downpour, but it was still awful sunny. It was about 17, 18 Celsius. And then things changed. Freezing rain, hail, snow, lots of fog. When I reached the highest point and crossed the tree line, I stopped, and I was really excited to see that I was surrounded by roughly 4 inches of snow everywhere. Folks, it's June 1st. When I left May 31st, we were wearing t-shirts and shorts. I had a number of layers on. T-shirt, long sleeve shirt, heated vest, tech vest to protect me just in case I did go down. First gear jacket, and a rain suit. I needed every layer I could get to keep warm. So not only has your bike got to be in condition, you have to be as well, mentally and physically. The road, just like the other part at the beginning, construction. It's good news and bad news because it shows the Quebec government is committed to the people here to make things safer for them, make it easier and more economical for the companies. Good going, Quebec. But again, that road's going to lose its character. And many people have said, well, it's almost paved. Well, yeah, that's almost as over. Construction starts at the base of Manic 5, which used to be paved on one section, going all the way up the hill. Well, the sand starts there. And you'll roughly ride 180 kilometers in a construction zone. Mostly sand, covered with 1-inch stone gravel. Pretty much, cruisers stop at that point. There's no sense in going on. About 180 kilometers in, you'll hit an amazing piece of asphalt, recently laid, in phenomenal shape. Just like section 1, watch for the little aluminum pylons, the little orange tag. One tag means there's a 6-inch ripple in the road or pothole or something. You see one of those big orange construction pylons on the side of the road? If you're speeding, you're in trouble because you have no idea how bad the break in the road really is. That's mostly in the construction zone. The new piece is in great shape. After roughly 100 kilometers of beautiful pavement that makes you want to whip up the throttle because you've been stuck in second gear for quite a bit, you still have to watch yourself. The turns are much more open. They're sweeping. They're gorgeous. Lots of places to stop and take pictures of the rivers, streams. And if you come before July, the snow on the mountains. So, best time, middle of July, further on when it's going to be dry. And I say that because once you finish the 100 kilometers of beautiful pavement, you're going to cross into what I would refer to as hell. And that's probably really quite a nice name for it. I've been down to the Grand Cayman Islands and visited the city called Hell. And boy, oh boy, it looks just like it. Potholes that are big enough to swallow this bike. Not a problem. The road is water saturated. It's been washed out a number of places. And they've done a temporary fix. But a lot of it's just pure clay. If you don't have a motocross tire on your bike, something's going to be open. If I hadn't put the Shinko 805s on this bike, I would not have made it. I don't believe. And I most certainly would have dropped the bike a few times. I never dropped the bike. I was able to power through, just transfer the power to the rear wheel, and push the weight on that back tire and just wheelied on through it. It was probably the toughest riding I've ever done. And quite frankly, I'm thrilled that I made it. And anybody who does it this time of year, yeah, you ought to get a badge for doing it because it's awesome. It's a great way to impress yourself. Nobody else knows because they didn't see what you went through. But I loved it, and I'm proud that I made it. The worst part is when you come to what they tell me is the 11 crossings of the railway track. You come up to the railway lines, and the difference in height between the railway lines and the other side of the road challenged the suspension on this KLR, to say the least. Then you make a sharp turn and you go down into a swamp. Your railway line's way up here, 30 feet above you. And you're really just going down into a swamp that they filled in with a bit of sand, a bit of gravel, and a whole lot of clay to help the road from shifting. Stones are like marbles. So your bike wants to continually step out on you. And you're cutting a 3 to 4 inch deep track as you go along. I had a truck that was in front of me for a few hours ahead. And by the time I got to the switchbacks, I couldn't come anywhere near his tracks, so they'd already filled with water. So I didn't know it was there. And at one point, the road was washed out. I had no idea how deep the water was, if the road was even still there. I just kind of gauged the depth of the tracks from the tractor trailer prior to me going through. Hadn't seemed to have gotten any deeper, so I went for it. At one point, I had pulled off on the highway, and a trucker coming out of Labrador City stopped, made sure I was okay. I was off the bike and actually just putting another layer on. But he wouldn't leave until he knew that I was okay. So thank you, whoever that trucker was. A few minutes later, a work truck came the other way. He did the same thing. The people out here in the East Coast, Newfoundland, Labrador, some of the most amazing people you'll ever meet in the world. I'm staying at a friend's house that I met 10 years ago while I was out here snowmobiling with Big Rick and Jen Canuster. Big Rick's buddy of mine I'd met 20 years ago over at HB Cycle. Met his family out here 10 years ago. Called them up and said, hey, you want to meet for a coffee? 2 days later, I'm still at their home. Amazing people. Taking me out everywhere and showing me what it's like in June. And it's not a fishing camp, folks, because you can't go fishing, you can't go ATVing, anything until the roads all clear up. So if you're going to ride here, make sure you've outfitted your bike properly. The road's probably not going to be decent for 2 or 3 years, but it's going to be a heck of a challenge. Anything but ATV bikes, ATVs, dual sport bikes, you're going to make it. You might drop your bike a few times. Anybody else, don't bother. I've heard about Gold Wings and BMWs coming down here. You're not going to make it now. Sorry, you'll just damage your bike. the road is empty. I had a total of 4 vehicles pass me while on the road. What should have taken me 6 hours took me almost 10 hours to go from from Baie-Comeau to Labrador City. 600 kilometers. That's how tough it was. A hell of a challenge. I'm thrilled I did it. I think you will be too. Tomorrow I'm going to head out to do the rest of the highway in Labrador. From Labrador City, I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, run the new road, 1,200 kilometers, of which everything but 200 kilometers is paved. However, it's pavement ready for possibly this summer. When I left the house, I was convinced these tires were overkill. Now I'm convinced if I hadn't had these tires, I wouldn't have made it. I lost my headlights on the bike. Luckily, I had installed a pair of LEDs on the front. They're still working. The headlights, not so much. You might want to switch out to LEDs before you leave the house because you're going to break your headlights. Or just bring a set of extra bulbs with you. It's a great road. It's a great challenge. And it's open if you call it under construction. I'll let you know how the rest of the road is in a couple of days. In the meantime, I'm John McClean. Thank you for watching. Ride safe and always ride within your limits. The other thing I want to let you know is I had an ESR, Eat, Sleep and Ride app on my cell phone. Haven't checked the details, but it also said I did 1,745 kilometers. Even though there's no cell phone service out on the highway, it was able to recalculate where the hot spots were I did stop at to calculate better. I did track myself with the spot transponder and it did a great job. It runs on satellite. If you're going to run the highway, make sure there's a couple of you together. It'll help absorb the hotel costs, which are very high. But if something does happen, it's better for somebody else to go back for help. And that way 2 GPSs can kind of coordinate your ride time and your safety locations better. There is about every 50 kilometers emergency telephones that are beside the railway tracks. Hopefully you don't have to use it. Anyway, I'm John McClean. Come out to Labrador. Meet the challenge. You'll be glad you did.